Bruno Mars just shattered a 10-year hiatus with his new album announcement, and the music industry is in an absolute panic. The second his lead single dropped, every major label reportedly scrambled to delay their own Q1 rollouts. But on TikTok and X, the reception turned wildly chaotic within hours. Pop stans are relentlessly mocking the track, calling it a lazy, uninspired retread of his past sound and an obvious cash grab. Yet, while internet commentary spirals into bad faith think pieces, the actual streaming receipts tell a completely contradictory story. The single is already tracking for a historic Billboard debut, and his massive 2026 stadium dates are selling out instantly. Critics claim he is completely out of touch with modern pop culture, while die-hard fans argue he is exposing the mediocrity of current chart toppers. So, is this manufactured controversy just pure online cope, or did Bruno actually miscalculate his biggest era yet? Let us break down what is really happening. To understand why this rollout is triggering such an aggressive reaction, you have to look at how Bruno completely disrupted the industry's release calendar. The second The Romantic was locked in for 2026, music insiders confirmed that several top-tier artists quietly scrambled to clear out of his way. Reports indicate that at least 2 major A-listers pushed their album drops straight from Q1 to late 2026 just to avoid getting buried by Bruno on radio airplay and streaming market share. Nobody wants to go head-to-head with a commercial juggernaut who has spent a decade building pent-up anticipation. Yet, the instant I Just Might hit platforms, online discourse immediately weaponized that 10-year wait. Critics flooded feeds claiming that after a decade of silence, turning in a vintage soul pop track felt safe, uninspired, and underwhelming. But look at the actual data. The track pulled in tens of millions of streams in its first 48 hours, proving that casual listeners and online commentators are living in 2 entirely different realities. The fact that the single went straight to #1 on Spotify Global and the Billboard Hot 100 despite relentless TikTok backlash highlights the massive disconnect between manufactured online outrage and actual consumer spending power. The divide widened dramatically once Reddit and TikTok began tearing into the production itself. Detractors claim Bruno is recycling the exact same sonic formula from Silk Sonic and his massive Lady Gaga collaboration, Die With a Smile. The running joke over on Popheads is that Bruno refuses to leave the 1970s because it is the only aesthetic guaranteed to lock down top 40 radio. When an artist masters a signature vintage sound this thoroughly, does sticking with it make him genuinely timeless or just creatively terrified of the modern pop landscape? Drop your take on where you draw that line between signature craft and playing it safe. But let us be real for a second. The industry is completely oversaturated with 2-minute algorithmic synth tracks built strictly to farm virality on short-form video. When an artist drops a fully arranged, organic record driven by real live instrumentation, the streaming crowd does not even know how to process it. What detractors dismiss as repetitive is precisely what casual audiences have been starving for in a market dominated by hollow, cookie-cutter playlist filler. Then came the tour rollout, which immediately crushed the flop narrative being pushed online. Bruno bypassed standard arenas altogether and booked a massive international stadium run across major global markets. That instantly puts him in the rare company of modern touring giants like Taylor Swift, The Weeknd, and Beyoncé. Critics tried to spin this as an arrogant, overambitious gamble for an artist with a single divisive track. Ticket demand exceeded 300% of total venue capacity at major stops like SoFi and MetLife stadiums, forcing Live Nation to add multiple extra dates and locking this run into the top 5 highest demand tours in company history. The receipts prove that no matter how loud the backlash gets on social media, the demand to see Bruno live remains entirely untouchable. Online outrage simply does not translate to empty stadium seats, especially when an artist has 15 years of flawless live performances backing him up. If you love deep dive breakdowns that pull back the curtain on music industry manipulation and cut straight through the PR noise, hit that subscribe button right now so you never miss an analysis. What makes this tour even more calculated is the supporting roster Bruno assembled. Instead of riding the coattails of viral TikTok personalities or label-mandated industry plants, he handpicked a lineup featuring Anderson .Paak, Leon Thomas, Victoria Monet, and Ray. This is not just a concert billing. It is an intentional masterclass in musical world building. Pop stands online were quick to claim Bruno is surrounding himself with the most critically acclaimed live vocalists and musicians in contemporary R&B just to validate his own sound. But from an industry standpoint, this is pure artist development at the highest level. By putting Grammy-winning visionaries like Leon Thomas and Victoria Monet directly onto stadium stages, Bruno is actively building a sustainable musical ecosystem instead of cashing in on disposable streaming trends. The most intense debate, however, centers around the album's track list. Leaks and official confirmations reveal that The Romantic clocks in at just 9 songs. In an era where streaming economics push artists to drop 30-track deluxe Bloat purely for chart manipulation, a 9-song tracklist feels downright combative. Detractors immediately jumped on this, labeling it performative minimalism and arguing that a 10-year hiatus deserves far more material. After waiting 10 full years for a solo record, would you rather get a razor-sharp 9 tracks with 0 skips, or do you feel entitled to a 20-song double album just to justify the drought? Curious to hear if you value album curation or raw volume after a hiatus that long. Limiting the project to 9 tracks is an intentional technical choice designed for an audiophile-grade, single 33 RPM vinyl pressing to maximize analog dynamic range instead of compressing audio to feed streaming algorithms. In today's landscape, bloated track lists almost always mean 20 unlistenable filler tracks designed to farm passive streams. By locking down a tight, focused 9-track cut, Bruno is blatantly rejecting the streaming playbook that has ruined album pacing for everyone else. Ultimately, the controversy surrounding this rollout exposes the glaring hypocrisy of modern stan culture. Online fan bases have become so obsessed with daily chart metrics and manufactured streaming records that they instinctively reject anything requiring patience or genuine musicianship. People are calling Bruno out of touch simply because he refuses to churn out cheap, rapid-fire content to keep an algorithm happy. He is not scrambling for viral trends because his chart placements, his record-shattering ticket sales, and his cultural longevity already settle the debate. The outrage was never about the music falling flat. It is about a superstar who operates entirely outside the internet's control. When you strip away the social media noise, this rollout exposes the harsh reality of modern pop culture. We have reached a point where the internet would rather consume 30 tracks of algorithmic playlist filler than celebrate an artist taking a decade to craft 9 deliberate records. The outrage is not about the music failing. It is about an industry terrified of a superstar who refuses to play by its streaming rules. If you enjoy deep dives that cut straight through the PR spin and expose how the music industry actually operates, hit that subscribe button right now. But looking at where the industry is heading next, did Bruno just expose the shallow nature of modern stan culture? Or will his refusal to adapt to rapid-fire trends eventually leave him behind? Drop your thoughts in the comments, leave a like on the video, and I will catch you in the next breakdown.